Bobby Lashley is here in the UK. How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing great.
You were out last night partying, hitting the UK scene really hard.
Not too hard.
Not too hard, because we know all you wrestlers are wimps in real life, and you can't drink at all.
Oh, boy. I don't think I can get drunk.
Now, you got a bottle of green tea this morning.
Green tea is kind of antioxidant. It kind of helps kind of flush the system of all the impurities.
Let's go back to the start then, because when you debuted on TV, we'd read a lot of stuff about you on the internet for the last couple of months, and it was like this guy comes out and you've got the body, you look great, you come out, you're a young guy, and straight away I said, next big thing, that is the next Brock Lesnar.
A lot of people say the Brock Lesnar thing, and at first I took it as a compliment, just because Brock Lesnar, he accomplished a lot in the WWE, but I'm way tougher than Brock Lesnar.
Now, I've read this. Apparently, you could really have him properly. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm
take him.
I'm a pretty tough guy.
Tell us about your background.
I wrestled 4 years in college. I was a 4-time All-American, and I won 3 national championships when I was in college. After college, I went to Olympic Training Center, and I managed to take second in the World Championships. I lost to Ukraine by 1 point in the final, so I was inches away from becoming a world champion.
Did they cheat the Ukraine?
Did they cheat?
Yeah.
Well, it was in Russia.
Right.
I don't want to say they cheated, but it was on their home turf. Yeah. And I wrestled for the Army, for the United States Army. That's what kind of paved my way for the Olympic Training Center. They paid my bills while I was wrestling, and I represented the United States Army while I was doing the stuff at the Olympic Training Center.
So when did you actually get the call then from the WWE?
I was at a world qualifying tournament, and they saw me there. They said I had a good look, I had a good build, and I was beating people up in that tournament. So they said, let's give him an opportunity. Let's give him a shot.
Get him signed.
So I imagine as an Olympic wrestler, and also when you're in the army, you can't admit you like professional wrestling. You can't say, you know what, guys, I really love Randy Savage or whatever.
Oh man, I actually tell you what, I loved wrestling, professional wrestling when I was growing up. I watched it all the time, and as you see, the moves that I do in professional wrestling are the same moves I did in amateur wrestling. I mean, I did a lot of throws, and that spear that I do, that was the same thing that I did when I was amateur wrestling. I set a record for the fastest fall in amateur wrestling with that spear. I pinned somebody in 2 seconds.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's quite cool.
I think that's cool. I would watch more, if that was the case. I don't want to slag off amateur wrestling, but I find it like a lot of times it's 2 guys rolling around on a mat. I like the sort of the more athletic moves that you get in pro wrestling, but
it's more technique and it's more going on. It doesn't look like very much from a fan's point of view, but there's a lot going on. It's just like the UFC. You know, guys are down and there's a lot going on, but the average viewer doesn't see it that way. They just see everybody doing nothing, but there's a lot going on there.
And that's it. Hugging.
Sounds like my Saturday night, but
and nobody said to you at the WWE, listen, we've got a great gimmick for you. You know, you're going to be a pirate, or you're going to be a cross-dressing whatever, a cross-dressing chicken or something.
The only thing that we did discuss is whether or not I wanted to use the army thing. So they said, maybe we can use an army gimmick with you and possibly run with that, but
you were like,
maybe.
I mean, I would do it, but
Sergeant Lashley.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were going for. But for me, I'm more, I don't want to say it, but they say soft-spoken or whatever, and I'm not a very vocal person, so that gimmick wouldn't have worked, I don't think.
So would it be great to have somebody like, Paul Heyman, like Lesnar had?
See, everybody wants to put another guy with me. What about a girl? I want a valet.
Right.
But Paul Heyman would be great.
That's just a part of the night, isn't it? I mean,
sensational show.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's been some names that have been tossed around.
May Young?
I would I would love Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
I would love Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was one of the people that actually helped me into SmackDown versus the training program. Paul Heyman, he was a mentor for me. I talked with him a lot. He explained the business to me. He was just one of the people.
Yeah.
There were several people that I talked to, but Paul Heyman was kind of one of the pioneers to help me out.
Definitely was one of the best. Him along with Jim Cornette and growing up watching wrestling, who are your big heroes?
I really didn't see bad guy and good guy. I just saw the action, the sport, the fight. So I loved everyone. There was Hulk Hogan. I loved Macho Man. I loved Steamboat,
amazing. Steamboat and Flash, still one of the best today.
Yeah, and then the Four Horsemen, of course.
Yeah.
Legion of Doom. I mean, there were so many people. Good guy and bad guy. It really didn't make a difference to me. I was just a fan of the business in general.
Did you want to be a professional wrestler?
Yeah, actually, when I first started amateur wrestling, I didn't know anything about it. It was my football coach. So my football coach was telling me, wrestle, and I thought, ring ropes. I thought getting up on the top. I thought all that because that's all I knew. That's all I watched. I never saw amateur wrestling before. I love the sport.
Could you have done it without Kurt Angle? Because he really broke that mold. Because beforehand, if you were an amateur wrestler, you couldn't like professional wrestling. You couldn't be a professional wrestler. They wouldn't let people who'd done it into their Hall of Fame.
Amateur wrestlers don't think professional wrestling is so tough, and professional wrestlers don't think amateur wrestlers are so tough. But now, since Kurt went over, Brock went over, Shelton Benjamin, myself, and a few other people, now there's a more respect between the two.
Do you still get the old guys taking the mick out of you, saying, it's all fake, or stuff like that, or, you're a wussy, it's not, you should be doing UFC, or...
No,
He's too nice to be in UFC. You just smile at him.
Well, I'm only nice outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I go back to the Olympic Training Center because I live right by the Olympic Training Center, and I see all those guys all the time, and no one really says anything about professional wrestlers being pussies or anything.
If we have a look at the schedule, because a lot of people complain about it, is it as really tough as you thought it would be, on the road all that time, spending very little time at home?
If you look at it bad, you could say it's bad, but if you look at it a positive way, then it's a positive way, because, for example, I'm here in London. I was in Milan for a day, and I flew straight from Milan to London. And I can say, wow, that's tough travel. But I've been in Milan, and I'm here in London. So if I look at it as being in a great country like this, you can't take it. I travel a lot. I'm home maybe 3 days a week, sometimes a little bit more. But while you're young, I guess you can go ahead and do it, and it's not bad. And if you look at it in a positive way, I've been to 15 countries in this year.
Which you'd normally never have done?
Never.
Just stay in the States, and that'd be it normally.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to be prejudiced against Americans, but a lot of them probably couldn't name 15 countries.
So, I'd go to Brock Lesnar, and I'd go to Americans in general.
I love
the Canadians next.
I love Brock Lesnar. He's my favourite American.
Oh,
the matches he had, it was amazing because he had the raw power. But
but with Kurt Angle, not even funny.
Oh no,
that microphone stand could have a great match with Kurt Angle.
In our business, it's not so much what you can do; it's who you're with.
If you go now with somebody who's awful,
someone like
Great Khali, could you have a great match with him?
I think so.
Yeah. Huh? According to you, Bobby, who's the best in the business right now?
The best in the business, I believe, probably Triple H, probably best in the business. And on SmackDown, I would say probably King Booker. It's such a close contest, like Chris Benoit, unbelievable. JBL, unbelievable. Shawn Michaels, unbelievable. Randy Orton, unbelievable.
Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin, one of the best.
Underutilized. Amazing talent.
Kurt Angle, probably one of the best. I'd put Kurt Angle up there with anyone.
Was that a shock when he turned up in TNA?
Yeah, it was.
Nobody knew, apparently.
I didn't know. No one knew.
And because we all believed he was going to MMA.
No.
And that was put out by the agent.
Well, I didn't think he would go to MMA. He spent so many years in the business, and he's a little broke up. MMA, I don't think it would have been a good route for him. I didn't know he was going to go to TNA, but you never know. You can't really judge a man's decision.
Are you worried about his health? Because obviously the WWE were very explicit. They let him go for health reasons.
Am I worried about his health? I think with TNA, it'll probably get better because he won't have to work as much. And that's the whole thing about it. We travel and we train and we fight a lot. So our bodies get broken down. Being on TNA, he might not have to do as much work, so he might not get broken down as much. He might be able to rehab and build himself back up a little bit easier.
Is that right here now? Is there any part of you that's in pain right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Explain it to me, because you hear about wrestlers and they're broken down and they've got nagging injuries all the time. Is it a general day-to-day thing where you just sat there and you sat down for 20 minutes and your back started to go? And
I had a tag match just the other day. It was me and Batista against Booker T and Finlay. All of which I don't like. I was chasing Booker out of the ring, and he gave me a back kick and threw me into the stairs, so my whole right side right now is a little sore. My shoulder's pretty banged up. Just raising my arm, it hurts pretty. I try to take care of myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
I try to get massages, and I have an inversion table. I hang upside down. I try to stretch as much as possible, but as much work as you do, it's still very taxing on the body.
Tell us about Raw versus SmackDown at the moment, because Raw, as usual, is seen as the A show, SmackDown seen as the B show.
Who says that?
Generally everybody.